like exactly 8 years. And we like, and I even told you, I was like, hey man, like I don't want, I just want us to be cool after this. Like I would have hated if like I moved to New Jersey and then there was a blow up, or I didn't like New Jersey or whatever, and then we didn't talk. So I like, it almost worked perfectly. Like it, as much as I like, it was a blast and it was a great time. It almost worked. You couldn't have written it better, almost.
You know, Lee, I felt after the Netflix thing on the way home from Vegas, that was a very cold reality for me. That in this life, it's better to want than to have. Like, all I remember, and I don't give a fuck who gets angry about this, all I remember is being on a date with my wife at the Cuban joint, El Cochinito in Silver Lake, and
Mm-hmm.
getting the call from my manager at the time that Netflix offered me a half hour. I mean, it's April 18th or something. It's the end of fucking April, or it's the end of May, and they're talking about a July shooting. And I'm like, even though it's a half hour, that's just not enough. That's a recipe for destruction. But I got to be honest with you, the Netflix and the whole thing overtook me. I was blinded by it. I'm smart enough to say it today. And I agreed to it. Then when they told me it was in a fucking pool hall, I'm like, what the fuck? There's not enough stages in Vegas? Like, the whole thing was such a bad experience for me that the experience bled into everything else. Like, because that manager bled into my comedy, and he was a great guy. I'm not saying nothing. He was just doing his job. But that whole period taught me it's better to want than to have. I don't want to do this if it's going to be to, my phone rang constantly, Lee. I had made a mistake and given my phone number to podcast people, and they wanted something every day, except for guys like Bob Lalingus and Berg. And, I was getting calls that I don't need these calls.
Right.
I don't need these calls. This is taking time from my family. It's taking time from my friends, and it's taking its toll on me, this stupidity. And you have to be nice. You try to be nice, but it was just too much. There was so much going on that people had no idea. Mike comes over. We do a podcast. He's gone in an hour and a half, 2 hours. With us, it was 6 hours.
Oh
It was
yeah.
nice with
Plus,
Ralphie. Ralphie would get there an hour late, and then we would stay there till 2 in the morning. And then you had to put the podcast together till 5. And it was a job that went from being, it was supposed to be 5 hours a week tops to 16 hours. And I got stand-up, and I got writing, and I got touring, and I got...
and then what about booking? What, like, that's something that people don't know about podcasts, is you have to A, book it, and then B, how many times we'd get to the office and then you get a call, hey man, I can't make it. Like it happened a lot. And it's not, it's like the least fun part about podcasting, I think.
We're probably going to do this in 2 parts
Okay.
today. That was the thing that wore me the most, because we're going to tell people what a lot of people didn't fucking know. How many times did people do a podcast? We did a good job with them. We got it done, and they never called again.
People who you paid to come out.
I'm not going to drop names on here and throw people under the bus and make people feel bad, because it's not what we do. But it was really hard on you that you take care of somebody, you put them in a hotel room, you do all these things, and then they tell you to go fuck themselves afterward. And it happened with a couple of people. I just saw a guy online that I go, holy shit, him and I used to talk every 3 days. And one day he just decided that, I asked him what he had done the night before, that he was supposed to meet me, what happened. I didn't ask him in a weird or in an angry way. I just asked him and he cut my friendship off. There was 10 of those guys. Then you had the people that would reach out to you a week before on Monday and go, hey, man, do you mind if I come on your podcast? And you and I would get all excited. This person's coming on the podcast. And you don't hear from them. And 3 days later, you throw on Twitter, and there he is on Joe Rogan.
Right.
So they would use us as leverage. And then when Rogan and I'm not mad at Joe at all for this. Joe didn't even know it was happening. Joe didn't know it was happening. I never mentioned it to him. I didn't need to. He's my friend. I mean, he's gotten but it showed us what people were, the desperate people. It showed us the level of people. You mentioned the name, Yoshi. I know Yoshi from 1995 in Seattle. I forced the club manager to put him on stage. Yoshi would call me every week, me and Ari, to see what we were doing a show, the guest set, and we would give him a guest set. And one night, Yoshi's going to call in at 6 in the morning, where we were making people get up at 6 in the morning, and he calls me at 5:45 and says, I don't know if I could do this. I just don't feel right doing this. I feel, all right, Yoshi, don't worry about it. Maybe you're still off on that edible we gave you 2 years ago. And the next thing you know, he's on Rogan with Kenneth Cho the next day, or Ken Cho, whatever. Again, I wasn't mad. Were my feelings a little hurt? I know you're 20 fucking years. All you had to say was you were going on Rogan, and I wouldn't be fucking mad at you. But that wasn't the fucking case,
No, it's and then sometimes people would just flake and not even call.
Not even call.
There was a few times, didn't happen as much, but I remember we waited at the office once, I think for 2 hours for some, I don't even remember who it was, but we just waited and waited and waited, and they just never showed up. Or they would come and I know you would always get calls you tell me someone told me to talk to their manager and they wanted to pre-approve questions, and it's
no.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And then you would even tell me that getting paid for the podcast for the sponsors was months of work. It wasn't just us going to the office and having a good time. It's honestly a full-time job just to do that. And then you also had your comedy, you had the book you were writing, you had being a father, and we also, something that people I don't think know, is a lot of podcasts take breaks, take a vacation. We didn't start taking Christmas off until 2 years before it ended. We just went straight every week, 2 episodes a week. I don't think we missed a week. I literally don't think we missed a week.
No, it was, and we were doing them. First, we started at 6 in the morning, which was fucking rough, because you and I were getting up in the middle of the night, and you were working. You were going straight from a job to that.
Right.
And then we fucking, moved it. You got to remember, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'm getting up on the 4 a.m. flight to go to some city. Friday, I'm getting up to do fucking radio. And then Sunday, I'm sleeping 3 hours to fucking make the 6 a.m. flight back to L.A. I was gaining weight. My fucking sleep was terrible. My blood pressure was always running high. And I didn't have a fucking clue of what the fuck was bothering me. Something was eating away at me. But it didn't really dawn on me. This whole thing didn't dawn on me, what we were doing, until you started going to therapy. Then it really started to fucking bother me. When you
really? It wasn't I wasn't going there crying about you or anything.
No, but just the fact that I knew that you were unhappy about something made me fucking really think. We'll cut it there, and we'll save the rest for Wednesday. We'll be right back.